Good morning, afternoon, evening, or whatever time of day you're watching this video. My name, as always, is Alex, and today we are doing a combination of two of my favorite things in this entire world. One being mental health and helping you guys get motivated to be the best you that you can be, and two being Formula One. So today we're going to be talking about the 5 current drivers and one sort of current driver to pay attention to this coming season for mental health and inspirational reasons, according to me. So first off, we're going to start off this list with a sort of current F1 driver, and his name is Daniel Ricciardo. And his career to date, he is an 8-time Grand Prix winner. He's raced for Red Bull, Renault, and McLaren in his F1 career, and he is currently signed on as the 3rd driver for Red Bull Racing. Now, the reasons why he's on this list is because during COVID, he was quite open about how he missed his family and how, because of Australia having very strict kind of rules about COVID, he wasn't able to go home and visit. And I think that it was amazing that he was able to open up and share his feelings and his hardship about that time with his family. But also, because for current reasons, he lost his seat in F1 at McLaren this past year, but he's turned it into a positive by now moving back to his old team, the team that he had the most success with, and now he's the 3rd driver for Red Bull Racing. And look at that face. That was a recent photo taken of him. He's smiling. He's living his best life. He's happy. So that's why I think you should pay close attention this coming season to Daniel Ricciardo. Number 1 on our list of actual F1 drivers that are currently on the grid is Nyck de Vries. His accomplishment so far is that he won the F2 Formula 2 championship in 2019, and he's won the Formula E championship in 2020 and 2021. Also, he got points on his debut for Williams in 2022, where he placed 9th in his first time ever driving a Formula 1 car in a race. And this year, he's driving for AlphaTauri on the Red Bull Junior team. Reasons why he's on this list is he never gave up his dream to join F1. He took every opportunity to reach his dream, and he sat in as like the reserve driver or the stand-in driver for like, I think 4 different teams this past season, and he put in all the work that he could. And when the opportunity came for him to drive for Williams, he seized that opportunity and he took the bull by the horns, no pun intended, because he's driving for Red Bull, and he drove and he was performed at the best he possibly could, which is what secured his seat for 2023. So that's why I think you should follow Nyck de Vries in the 2023 season. Number 2, Fernando Alonso, an amazing, fantastic driver. His accomplishments to date is he is a 2-time world champion in Formula One. He has the most F1 starts of any driver in the history of the universe. When he won his first championship, he was the youngest driver. Now it's Sebastian Vettel, but when he won it, he was the youngest driver ever. And this season could be the season that he breaks the all-time record of surpassing 20,000 laps driven in an F1 car. He only has 847 laps left, so this season he could pass that mark. But the real reason why he's on this list is he's 41 years old, and he's still driving as hard as he ever has. He is still pushing himself to the limit. He's not giving up, and the cool part is that he's using his knowledge and his experience to push the team that he's on even further. So that the reason why I want you to pay attention to Fernando Alonso is because he's trying his best and he's pushing the people around him to do amazing. So pay attention to him. Pay attention to Aston Martin, the team that he drives for this season. Number 3, my all-time favorite driver in all of Formula One, Valtteri Bottas. So the reason why he's on this list, his accomplishments so far, he is a 10-time Grand Prix winner. He holds the record for the longest Q3 qualifying record. That means making it all the way to qualifying session number 3. If you know Formula One, that's a big deal. If you don't, just know that means he's been the most consistent in a row qualifying, getting into the races. He is a 5-time World Constructors Champion, which means that he was on Mercedes for 5 years in a row when they won the Constructors Championship. And now he's the team lead for Alfa Romeo. He's been doing it for, this is his second year doing it. But why is Valtteri Bottas on this list? Well, honestly, recently he's gone on record and he talked about all the mental health struggles that he had when he tried to beat his old teammate at Mercedes. He was always number 2 and he always felt like he needed to succeed. He needed to triumph. He needed to be number 1 in his life. And Formula One was the only measure of success for him. But now he's working on finding his own happiness outside of Formula One. And since moving to Alfa Romeo, taking on the lead role as the driver and being part of that team, the development of that team, he said that he's found a new lease on life and he's smiling, he's laughing, and he's living his best life now that he's found his happiness. So that's why I want you to pay attention to Valtteri Bottas in the 2023 season coming up. Number four, George Russell. So, what are his accomplishments so far? Honestly, he's just starting to get his accomplishments in Formula One. He was the Formula 2 champion in 2018, and he has his first Grand Prix victory was this past season, but he's driving for a Mercedes, and he's ready to pump up those numbers, get those numbers up there. But the reason why he's on this list and why I want you to focus on him is because he recently did an interview for Men's Health magazine talking about his mental health struggles and talking about how he went to a therapist and how when he goes to that therapist, he not only feels like it's boosting his game on the track, but also he feels like there's a massive weight on his shoulders lifted. And that's why I want you to focus on George Russell, because he's being that positive force for change, talking about your mental health, talking about your mental illness. And he wants to break down that stigma for mental health. So that's why I want you to focus on George Russell in the coming season. Last, but I mean, if you know anything about Formula One, definitely not least, it is Sir Lewis Hamilton. His accomplishments to date, just a few, are that he has the most F1 championships ever. He has the most F1 victories ever. He has the most F1 pole victories ever. He has the most F1 podiums ever. And he drives for Mercedes. He is quite literally the GOAT. Statistically speaking, I don't care what you think opinion-wise, he statistically speaking is the greatest Formula One driver of all time. But that's not why he's on his list. He's on this list because he is the only black F1 driver in history. And he's been quite vocal about all of the racism that he's had to fight through to get to this point. He's talked about having people toss him bananas. He's talked about people calling him a monkey. He's talked about people saying that he's never going to amount to anything when he was a kid. And still he has to fight that racism. But not only that, the cool part, the thing that I find most amazing about Sir Lewis Hamilton is that he doesn't only fight for the causes that affect him directly, but he's also extremely vocal about fighting for other causes. My favorite example is whenever they're driving in countries where it's illegal to be 2S LGBTQIA+, he wears a sparkly, glittery rainbow helmet just to kind of spite them and say, hey, I'm for this, even if you're against it. So that's why I want you to focus on Sir Lewis Hamilton in the coming season of Formula One. So to summarize, in conclusion, wow, that's really difficult to read, but I'm going to try and go with it. We're going to go with our boy, where is it? Up here we have George Russell for talking about mental illness. We want to talk about Sir Lewis Hamilton for fighting for the change, for the cause that you believe in. Valtteri Bottas for finding your own happiness. It doesn't have to mean that you're the best of the best of the best. You need to find your own happiness. For Nick de Vries, for never giving up on your dream and taking every opportunity that you can. For Fernando Alonso, for not just settling for the accomplishments that you've succeeded in already, but always pushing yourself for that next accomplishment. And who else we got up there? Where is it? That is, I can't see who that is. Oh, yes, Daniel Ricciardo, for never being afraid to move back into your comfort zone, to go back to the people that you know care about you and trust you. So those are the 5 current F1 drivers and the one kind of F1 driver that I want you to pay attention to, not for any big, we're the best of the best of the best, but for their mental health, promotion, and them fighting for the causes that they believe in. So thank you, everybody. My name's Alex, and I hope you have a great day. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.